Hey guys, in today's video we'll be exploring some of the most iconic spots in New York City. We'll start at the world's first Macy's at Herald Square, then head over to Bryant Park, a perfect little escape in the middle of the city. Right next to it, we'll step inside the stunning New York Public Library. From there, we'll walk through the Highline, taking the unique design of the vessel, and visit Little Island, a floating park on the Hudson River. Then we'll stop by Grand Central Terminal, take in the views of Manhattan Bridge, and enjoy some time in Central Park. We'll also explore the streets of Soho, Chinatown, and Little Italy. Before wrapping up with a classic New York City experience, a walk through Times Square. So, little backstory. Over the past 3 years, I have spent quite a bit of time in New York City for work. And while I have always been passionate about filming, I never really shared any of these adventures until now. So, just a heads up, this vlog is a mix of footage from different times of the year. You'll see scenes from winter, summer, and everything in between. Because this isn't from one single trip, it's from my time spent in New York City over the past few years. But looking back, all these moments bring back so many memories, and I figured it was finally time to put them together and share them with you guys. As much as I love the Pacific Northwest, there is something about New York City, the energy, the architecture, the history, it just hits different. So let's explore. So let's start with one of the most iconic spots, Macy's Herald Square. This is the world's first Macy's and it's been standing here since 1902. It's not just a department store, it's a piece of history. The wooden escalators inside, those are over a century old, and every time I walk through these doors, I feel like stepping back in time. Just a short walk from Macy's is Bryant Park, one of my favorite little escapes in the city. It's a small park, but it's got such a vibe. In the winter, they have the ice skating rink and holiday market, and in the summer, it's a perfect place to just sit, grab a coffee, and watch the city move around you. Right next to Bryant Park is the New York Public Library, one of the most breathtaking buildings in the city. This place is straight out of a movie. And actually, it is. Ghostbusters, The Day After Tomorrow, Breakfast at Tiffany's, just to name a few. But beyond Hollywood, this building is a masterpiece of Beaux Arts architecture. The most iconic part of the library is the Rose main reading room, a massive cathedral-like space with high arched windows, long wooden tables, and a stunning painted ceiling with clouds and gold accents. It's the kind of a place where you can just sit in silence and feel the history around you. But the library isn't just for books. It's also a great place to grab a unique souvenir. As soon as you step inside, you're greeted by towering marble columns, intricate carvings, and grand masterpieces that make you feel like you've entered a palace. literally Hogwarts. Tucked inside is a cute little gift shop filled with literary themed goodies, NYC inspired trinkets, and bookish gifts. Whether it's a tote bag with classic book covers, a fancy notebook, or a quirky bookmark, it's a great place to pick up something special to remember your visit. Honestly, even if you're not a book lover, the New York Public Library is worth visiting just for the architecture alone. It is a true NYC gem that makes you appreciate the city's history and craftsmanship. One thing you have to be prepared for when visiting New York City is walking. You'll be walking a lot, so wear comfortable footwear. Trust me, your feet will thank you. And one of the best places to experience New York City on foot is the Highline Park. This elevated park used to be an abandoned railway, but now it's one of the most unique green spaces in the city. Walking here, you get these amazing views of the skyline and the streets below. You're above the chaos, but still in the middle of it all. And then there is this, the vessel. This honeycomb-like structure at Hudson Yards is one of the New York City's newer landmarks. It was designed to be a massive climbable sculpture with over 2,500 steps. Sadly, it's closed to visitors now, but even from the outside, it's a wild piece of architecture. Love it or hate it, you cannot deny it makes a statement. Not too far from here is another newer addition to the city, Little Island. It's built on these giant concrete tulip shaped columns floating above the Hudson River. The design is surreal and the views of the skyline from here unreal. Whether you come here for a concert at the amphitheater or just to take in the scenery, it's one of those spots that shows how creative NYC can get with its spaces. Enjoy the beautiful sunset here. Next up, one of the most beautiful places in the city, Grand Central Terminal. Over a century old but still timeless. Last time I visited Grand Central was on Valentine's Day. It was freezing cold. I mean, New York winter is something. That celestial ceiling, it's a painted mural of the constellations. Though fun fact, it's actually flipped as if seen from outside Earth. And of course, you have the famous clock in the middle of the concourse. If these walls could speak, they would have a century's worth of stories to tell. Now, if you are in New York City and looking for that classic view, Manhattan Bridge from Dumbo it is. This street has been photographed a million times, but it never gets old. But another amazing way to experience the Manhattan Bridge, especially with the city lights, is by taking the ferry. Cruising along the East River at night, seeing the skyline sparkle, and passing under the bridge, It's a completely different vibe, and honestly, you wouldn't want to miss it. And then there is Central Park. No matter how many times I come here, it's always a different experience. Whether it's covered in snow, full of cherry blossoms, or just golden leaves in the fall, it's this little pocket of calm in the middle of the chaos. It's easy to forget you are in the middle of the busiest cities in the world when you are here. Last time I was here, I also visited the Central Park Zoo. It's a small but really fun spot tucked inside the park. Unfortunately, I don't have any clips from that visit, but if you ever get a chance, it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you're traveling with the kids. Speaking of must visit places, just a short walk from here is the American Museum of Natural History. And let me tell you, this place is so worth it. The exhibits are incredible and it is such a great spot to add to your list, especially if you're visiting with the family. The dinosaur fossils, the massive blue whale models, and the space exhibits all amazing. Unfortunately, I don't have any clips from the time, just some photos. A couple of years ago, I visited New York City with my husband, and when we were in the Central Park, we grabbed breakfast and had a picnic right here in the Central Park. Such a simple plan, but honestly, so much fun. We had such a great time. So, whether you are sightseeing or just looking for a moment to relax, this place is perfect for that. And yeah, this is the same shot from when I visited in winter. One of the best ways to experience New York City is just by walking. No rush, no set of plans, just soaking in the city. Soho's cobblestone streets and cast iron buildings give it that classic New York City feel and those iconic fire escapes. Chinatown, it's a whole different world. Bustling markets, neon signs, and the best dumplings you'll ever have. Just a few blocks away, there is Little Italy, which feels like stepping into another era with its old school restaurants and Italian flags hanging from balconies. And then there is Brooklyn, the quiet charm of brownstone houses and tree lined streets. It's a different place from Manhattan, but still has that unmistakable New York energy. And finally, no New York City vlog would be complete without Times Square. Love it or hate it, it's a spectacle. This place is always buzzing no matter the time of the day. The bright lights, the billboards, the sheer amount of people, it's the definition of sensory overload. But that's exactly what makes it so New York. And of course, by this time, I was dead from walking all over the city. But hey, that's New York for you. You come here knowing you are going to walk miles and somehow it is still worth every step. This is Times Square during the day, but trust me, it's a whole different vibe at night. In my next vlog, I'll be sharing Times Square after dark. When the lights are even brighter, the energy is crazier, and the city truly lives up to its nickname, the city that never sleeps. Thank you guys for watching. Next week, we'll be exploring the financial district, Brooklyn Bridge, One World Trade Center and its observatory, 9/11 Memorial, Oculus Station, the Statue of Liberty, St. Patrick's Cathedral, Radio City Music Hall, Top of the Rock, and of course, more of Times Square walk at night. So make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that. See you guys next week.